Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh and a very good evening. I am Iffah and welcome to Maybank News. Islam is known as a religion that truly governs every single aspect of a Muslim's life, from the aspect of spiritual, cultural, social, or to even economical matters or issues. The Islamic economic principles regulate any kinds of economic activities in accordance with the Sharia, where riba is the most prominent element among the various prohibitions which take place under the Islamic commercial law. While trade is permitted, riba is strongly prohibited. As stated clearly in the Holy Quran and Hadith, Allah and His Messenger strongly prohibits riba and permitted sale or profit in Islam for some reasons. In this case, Allah has already mentioned regarding the prohibition of riba in Surah Al-Baqarah verse 276. Allah will destroy riba and will give increase for sadaqat, and Allah likes not the disbelievers, sinners. Riba is usually defined as a popular profit of one party against the opposite party within the transaction of sale or exchange of comparable goods without reward against disadvantages. Meanwhile, trade is defined as the exchange of goods or services for other goods and services or money conventionally. According to Muhammad Mudakir Abdul, act as the Credit Administration Officer from the Sharia and Credit Documentation at Gulf African Bank.
From finding, based on our first objective, we can see a major difference between Ribh and Riba. Riba denotes excess, growth, and expansion in Arabic. In English, however, riba is commonly rendered as interest. Ribh, which means profit, is a sum of money added to the cost price of a product or service. This extra is referred to as a markup. Next, there is no risk of capital erosion in riba. However, there is a risk of investment loss in ribh. The amount of riba, as known as interest, that will be added to a loan is usually specified ahead of time. On the other hand, profits have to be earned by active participation in economic activity. Interest is gained passively without the participation of lenders in the production or distribution process. And lastly, profit provides for increased justice and brotherhood among the transacting parties. Instead, riba creates an egotistical culture in which every loan transaction is oriented at expanding one's riches rather than aiding the poor and needy.
Hukum riba is haram. Why? Because riba brings injustice and also unfairness in business dealing. The creditor will become more wealthier than the creditor because they will have additional money when they collect debt. So the creditor got more advantage over the debtor. But also inviting Allah's anger, where punishment from Allah doesn't mean that Allah is cruel, but it is purposely to avoid His servant from doing things that could harm their financially, spiritually, and also their personality. Thus, Muslims should follow the true path by avoiding riba in business dealing. Ribh comes from mutually agreed business in terms of mutual profit. The price of the product is agreed to be purchased by the buyer, and the buyer also agrees to pay more as what the profit that had been agreed before. So the seller also will explain the price of the goods and also explain how the profit is determined, which come from additional cost and the risk for the good exchange. Riba also come from workmanship, where riba attain the profit simply by increasing the cost without clear and relevant reason. This is why riba is permissible in Islam.
So for the last objective of our study is to explore the different types of riba. Our findings reveal that riba have two types, which are riba al-duyun and riba al-buyut. Firstly, riba al-duyun is riba that happen when in debt. This type of riba applied to any debt or loan which is commonly found in conventional banking products. This kind of riba has two types, which are riba kar and riba jahiliyah. Riba card is imposed at the beginning, where riba jahiliyah is imposed at the ending, which happens only after default. After that, riba al-buyu is riba that happen in trading, especially in sale transaction of certain commodities and products. This type of riba also has two types under it, which are riba fard and riba nasiyah. Riba fard is riba that happens in exchange of ribawi items that have different rates and numbers, and riba nasiyah concluded when any delay happen in payment. So, which is very commonly happen in our daily life, especially in paying for a car or house that have maturity date. With this understanding about types of riba, it will help us to know about it specifically so we can know the condition of riba will happen and we get to detect riba easily in any business.
The conclusion is riba is allowed where riba is forbidden in Islam. Riba is haram because it has persistent negative implications to humans' lives and transactions between humans. Allah has said in Surah Al-Baqarah verse 275 that He has permitted trading and forbidden usury, which is riba. Riba is a concept in Islam that refers to the concept of growth. It means usury or interest, that forms of unearned income. The lender does not have to exert any effort in order to earn interest, while riba is profit that comes from markup after all costs that need to be paid. It is gained by hard work and taking risk. Riba is opposite to riba, and the ruling of riba in business transaction is permissible in Islam. Its allowance to be applied in business transactions has been mentioned in Al-Quran, Surah An-Nisa, verse 29. O believers, do not devour one another's wealth illegally, but rather trade by mutual consent. Therefore, we should know the difference between riba and riba in transactions in order to achieve blessings from Allah in our daily life. That's all from us regarding comparison between riba and riba in Islamic finance. Thank you.